Disneyland is shutting down in China, Disney World is opening back up in Florida, and California is shutting down their economy. You can say it's a weird time. What's up everybody, I am Jasprit Singh from theminorityMindset.com and welcome to the Minority Mindset. Do you know why 2020 is an interesting year? Because of all the fights that happened over toilet paper? No, because we can judge the health of our country and our economy by looking at one thing: Disney World. Disney World is known as the happiest place on earth because when you go there, you have a magical time and the Disney shareholders live in a fairy tale. But this pandemic made it pretty difficult for us to go visit Harry Potter World. Wingardium Leviosa! Well, what makes this even more interesting is that Disney World in Florida opened back up the same day that Florida set a record for the amount of virus cases out there, and Disney World Florida opened back up the same week that Disneyland China shut back down because of this virus. That's China. We're America. We won't be shutting down our economy again. That's what we said in January and February when the Chinese economy was shut down. And then in March, the United States joined the cool kids by shutting down their economy too. Now the United States is in a very weird place because virus cases are rising and nobody wants to lock down the economy again. Well, I should mention that California started to go their own way because they actually shut down their whole economy already for a second time. The state of California is the 5th largest economy, not in the United States, but in the world, and the California governor has ordered pretty much another statewide lockdown. Now, the question is, are other states going to follow what California is doing? And whether they do or don't, how is this going to affect the economy, the stock market, your money, and your investments? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about in this video, so hit that thumbs up button below, because if you don't, then YouTube doesn't share our video with anybody else. Subscribe to the Minority Mindset YouTube channel, that way you don't miss our new financial education videos every single week, and hit that little notification bell too, because if you don't, then YouTube doesn't let you know when our new videos are released. So we are a financial news and education company, and I have been talking about the economy and business for years now, and most of the time when I'm talking about business or the economy, I'm talking about business and the economy. But nowadays, our economy's health doesn't just depend on business. It's about a pandemic, it's about masks, and it's about economic lockdowns. If a state shuts their economy down, then businesses can't make any money. If businesses can't make any money, they cannot afford to keep paying their employees, which means employees will get fired. If employees get fired, that means they're not going to have money to spend, assuming they're not getting money from the government. But if they don't have money to spend, then other businesses are not going to make any money, and this slows the economy down. The economic solution to this problem is easy. Don't shut the economy down, let businesses run, and let people make money and spend money. Except there's a health issue that's kind of overarching this economic issue right now. This virus has taken a toll on people, businesses, and countries all around the world, and now people are debating the realness of this virus. Some people think it's a hoax, others don't. Some people think this virus is deadly, others don't. Some people think this virus is one big plan by the elitists, others don't. I like to cut through the noise and ignore all the emotions and look at the facts, and the fact of the matter is that many people have died because of this pandemic. That's a fact, not an opinion. But the next question is, what do we do about it? Obviously, the most important thing here is your health. If you are not healthy, nothing else matters. So regardless of what the government does or what your state says needs to happen, you need to be the one to take care of your health and your family's health, because if you are not healthy, who cares about how your money is doing? Countries around the world have already gone on lockdown once, and many countries were able to contain the virus in their countries. Now, the United States is seeing the virus grow faster than ever, and many people in the United States do not want to see another lockdown because lockdowns are very expensive. So right now, our economic health is being held in the government's hands because the government is debating, is another lockdown worth the cost or not? This is where some people and businesses and states have said, okay, let's work together, let's try to keep the economy open, but everybody wear a mask. And just like before, some people are not having it. Reuters actually had to publish an article saying that, this little strip in your mask right here, that it is not a 5G antenna, because some people were apparently worried that this strip was actually injecting something into people's noses, which would go into the brains, which would be a way for the government to control you. Now you're looking at me like I'm crazy, but I'm just reading what the article said. Lockdown or not, this political division and people and mask division, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, is going to take a toll on the economy. Some people will not go outside and spend money like normal until they feel safe to do that, which means until this virus is gone. Some businesses cannot open back up. Other businesses have restrictions on how many people can come inside their business, which limits their revenue, and other businesses cannot function because they require people to be in close proximity with each other, like concerts. Now, when it comes to your money and your investments, this is what we call weird times. JP Morgan, the bank, released their second quarter earnings statements, and they said that there's a lot of uncertainty ahead, and they said that their profits for this second quarter were down 50% from a year ago. Now, experts heard that and they said, wow, down only 50%? That's not as bad as we thought. And so the stock shot up. Profits down 50%. Bye, 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 bye. And you have the government and the Federal Reserve Bank who have been working together to print trillions and trillions of dollars faster than we've ever seen happen in the history of time. So you have to imagine that it's going to have this effect on the value of our dollars. But going back to the economy for a second, our economy grows when businesses make money. Businesses only make money when people have money to spend and they feel comfortable spending this money. But in order for this to happen, businesses have to be open and people have to have the cash to spend. During the peak of the pandemic, around April time, nobody was spending money. Like, spending pretty much froze across the United States and almost across the entire world. And then after April, May, early June, that's when spending started to pick up again. And so people got really excited because people were spending money again. But it's nowhere near where we were prior to the pandemic. Plus, it's really hard to gauge some of these numbers because the government and the Fed printed trillions of dollars and they handed it out to people who they thought deserved it. So certain businesses, certain people, and the stock market. So if you're a business and you were hurt by this pandemic and you lost a lot of money, but then the government gave you a $5 million check, you might be okay. But if you're a business that was hurt by this pandemic and you didn't for some reason qualify for this free government money, you're screwed. That's when people say, the economy's fine. Take a look at the stock market. But the stock market and the economy aren't a mirror image of each other. I mean, the stock market has a lot of emotion tied into it and it has a lot of free money from the Federal Reserve Bank pumping it up. The economy is a little bit different and you can't measure the strength of the economy on a minute-by-minute basis like you can the stock market. Financially speaking, although our stock market is back to where we were before the pandemic started, the economy isn't. We have millions of Americans that are out of a job and more Americans will probably lose their jobs now that states are starting to roll back their reopenings. We have tens of millions of Americans that could lose their homes by Thanksgiving 2020. And we have entire industries like retail and travel that are bleeding cash. Even if everything went back to normal tomorrow, it would take the United States at the very minimum a year to get back to close to normal. The problem is, the United States is not going to be back to normal tomorrow. Hate it or love it, our economic issues cannot get better until our health issues get better. I mean, you can debate about this all day long, but this is reality. I mean, if you want to believe that this virus doesn't exist and live your life like normal, that's completely up to you. But if people aren't shopping in your business because they're scared to go out and shop, you're going to feel the pain. And if the government shuts you down because of this pandemic, you're still going to pay the price. We have more cases of this virus than ever, and it is not slowing down. And luckily, death rates are low, which is very good news. However, the concern is that death rates will go back up. Hypothetically speaking, if that happens, if the death rate starts to go back up, then you have to imagine that governments are going to feel more pressure to shut down their economies. And if that happens, more businesses are going to get hurt and more Americans are going to lose their jobs. Now, we don't just have a major health crisis, but we have an economic problem and we have another stock market problem. So if you are investing your money, you need to keep a close eye on what's happening in the finance and business news because, like JP Morgan Chase Bank said, there is a lot of uncertainty ahead of us. And if you're looking for an easy way to stay up to date on what's happening in the top finance and business news, well, that's why we created the free Minority Mindset newsletter, where our team first breaks down the top finance and business news, and then we show you how this news affects your wallet. That way you can be smart with your money. This newsletter is completely free, and you can subscribe to our finance and business newsletter by clicking the link up here or by clicking the link in the description below. By the way, our financial news emails are separate from our financial education emails. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, share it with one friend, that way we can help spread the word. If you want to learn more about how you can grow a small stock market portfolio into something much bigger, I already made a video on this, and you can watch this video on YouTube by clicking this button right over here. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep hustling.